So a few weeks back, some guys from Bethel were doing outreach on campus, so I decided to join them, and we went looking for people to pray for, basically. We came across a guy who was cleaning the fountain on Jamie Plaza, and had a word of knowledge that he had a sore back. So we asked him if he did, and sure enough he did. And so we asked if we could pray for him, and figured that he might have a leg longer than the other. So we set him up against sort of that bench place next to Jamie's stairs, and saw that sure enough his one leg was quite a bit longer than the other. So the Bethel guys asked me to pray, and just before I was about to do so, called a whole group of people around and said like, "Hey everyone, do you want to see a miracle?" So I was like, okay, no pressure, and prayed for him, and sure enough his leg grew out, and back was healed, incredibly.
Comes to mind is when we were in Camp Spares earlier this year, a few months ago, and when the Pick and Pay then the lady behind at the bakery had very, very bad eyesight, and anyway she asked me to go behind the counter to like help her read something. So I asked if I could pray for her eyes, and she was like, yeah, you can pray for my eyes. So myself and a friend prayed for her, and as soon as we were done praying, we held up a label in front of her, and she could read it straight off, like which she could never have done before. She had to ask people to like read stuff for her, and yeah, she was just like super stoked. And then the other ladies behind the bakery all like, hey, we want prayer as well. And so ended up like praying for, I can't remember, but the bakery staff. And yeah, it was just like a really encouraging time, and also a thing of, there was just like a thing of God's joy in that bakery. And yeah, it was just really cool.
Okay, so there's a guy in my class who happened to be sitting next to me in the labs one day, and I just greeted him, good morning, and he greeted me, and I asked how he was, and he said he had like quite a like hectic pain in his neck, and then I was just like, well, can I pray for you? Like, I believe Jesus can heal you, and he was like, he was actually so relieved that he'd been offered prayer. Went outside the lab and just laid hands on him and just like prayed, and I asked him how it was feeling, and he was kind of like moving his neck around a little bit, and he was like, oh, actually it's feeling better. So I was like, is it feeling 100% better? And he was like, no, it's not yet. So I was like, do you mind if I pray until it's like fully better? And he was like, yeah, sure. So I prayed some more, and then I asked again how he was feeling, and he moved around a little bit more, and it was almost like he was trying to look for the pain because he was so surprised that it actually wasn't there. And he was like, it's gone completely, and I could just see he was speechless, like he was so shocked, didn't know what was going on. And I was like, yeah, Jesus just healed you, like you're free of your pain. And yeah, stoked, went back into the lab, and he just burst out laughing. He looked at me and he was just incredulous. He couldn't believe what had happened, and I just explained to him, I said, the Holy Spirit is in you. He's a Christian, so I said, like, the Holy Spirit's in you, and the Holy Spirit's in me, and it's true that same power that conquered the grave, the Spirit of God, like, lives in us,
And then shortly after that, we were speaking to a group of girls who had just seen it happen, and asked them if they wanted to pray for anything, especially for healing. And one girl said, well, I'm not sick, but I've actually got a hangover. It was Friday, so she'd evidently been out for Puza Thursday. And so we said, sure, no, we'll pray for you. She's like, I don't know, that's kind of inappropriate, don't you think? We're like, no, like God really loves you nevertheless, and He's gracious. So we prayed for her, and sure enough, she got healed. She also just really got touched by the Spirit in a powerful way, and so we asked her if she wanted to give her life to the Lord. She said, yeah, for sure. Her friends were like trying to drag her away to go to a tzat, and they were all really embarrassed, but she stayed and prayed a prayer of salvation.
About being a missional church, releasing incarnational people into the world. Yet it's also about coming together, to refresh, to regroup, to renew our collective calling to change the world. As Jesus encouraged us to imagine like a child, we need to reclaim the courage to be scattered. It's time to explode the status quo, to break free from religion, to discover the adventure of missionary life, to learn how to fly, and together build a gathered and scattered church.